How would your view of it change now if you were to rewrite it again, do you think?
In what sense?
Well, it was a few years since it's been written, so if you were to have to write it now, would there be any differences?
I don't think so, because when I first wrote it, I'm not really a writer, like, you know, like other people are. Mike Finn is a writer, so he can write plays, and it's sort of, you know, if you put a gun to my head and ask me where it came from, I couldn't tell you. Aside from that, some of it is me in terms of how I think. So I wrote it, and it was bad and awful, and then I came back to it, and it's gone through, I suppose, a couple of drafts, and even a few adjustments we made on when we rehearsed it the last time. So I think, for me anyway, it's reached its end point, and I don't think I would do anything very different with it. Or would I rewrite it as a male so I could play it? Maybe, but no, it wrote what it wanted to write. And I still see her, or male versions of her, every day in the street. Every day. And to a degree, as I said, there's a bit of me in her, a tendency to have moved back. I like my own space, I like the quietness of my own existence sometimes, and I don't really do the whole social thing. So in that sense, if I was to write more about me, in her, perhaps that would, no, I think the same thing would come up actually.
And you spoke about the difference in performance spaces. How are you finding the change from an intimate setting to a stage?
Well, I haven't done it yet. We'll see on the night.
Yes. I'm taking bets now.
I'll miss the room, but we'll get over it.
And the real pretentious bit, of course, though, which is, you can quote me on, is it's part of the actor's job to not feel a difference, to create whatever space is necessary to the character in your head, so that actually when you go out on stage, you're still only in that room, in her existence. That's, of course, very easily said. It's not that easily done sometimes, but that's what you kind of aim for, really. So, but yeah, it's been a huge shift.
And how is it acting in a one-person show?
It's a bit lonely. I found it a bit strange at first. I prefer obviously acting with other people, but there's a great freedom in it as well. You know, it's kind of liberating and very scary. But at least if anything goes wrong, you're not throwing anybody else off, you're just throwing yourself off. But tough, but very rewarding. And I think when we did it 2 years ago, I think it's the kind of piece that it had something to say and it affected people. And I'm glad we're doing it again, because I just don't think that enough people saw it the last time because the room was so small.
Well, I mean, you never know with touring.
No one might come.
Yeah, you can end up in places where just, you know, 2 or 3 come by performed in front of, you know, 2. And you just go out and you say, okay, I'll do the show. It's also, I mean, just maybe mention that Bottom Dog are so committed to bringing Limerick shows on the road, and have done now on a number of occasions. I can't remember how many tours at this stage, but it's double figures. So that's also part of the brief of the company in terms of presenting what Limerick can do out there on low budgets. But we have a hugely positive working relationship now with many venues. So this is the 3rd or 4th time that we're revisiting venues that have taken Bottom Dog product in the past. It's an adventure, and it's kind of an unknown, because you'll arrive in a place and there are a couple of venues where we're doing matinee shows, so we may not quite be able to get the full show that we want up. I have hanging pieces on it, curtain and stuff, and there may be places where we won't have time, so we'd have to adjust slightly in there. But again, I think, my fundamental theory of theatre has always been, You can do it without a set. You can probably do it without a director. You can do it without lots of things. But if you have a storyline and an actor to speak the words, hopefully, at its very simplest, that'll work. Nice to have the other things, but you know, the most important thing will be the focus on the character and the actor and the audience, because the audience is so much part of the production anyway. It's kind of unspoken about sometimes, but it's just words and a piece of paper and somebody sitting on stage until the audience see it, then it becomes a play.
And John mentioned performing in front of two people. I'd imagine as an actor or an actress, you want to project as if the audience is full each time.
I don't, to be honest, I don't ever think about, well, I try not to think about the audience really, or how many people are there, and never look at them, or if you do, you just become terrified anyway. So, all I want to do really is to say that we did it again, and we get it another go, and if people want to come and see it, fine. If they don't, fine. But I don't think we were just happy leaving it there 2 years ago, with giving such a small amount of people an opportunity to see it, you know.
So, finally, when is the show on? How will people get to see it?
So we're on the 28th of March in the Bell Table for one night only. So get your tickets now. And we're on tour in May to, I think, 14 venues all over, literally all over Ireland. We're crisscrossing. We're going up as far as, I think, Donegal and onto Mayo, down to Kilkenny. So it's going to be a lot of travelling and a lot of tiredness and everything like that, but sure, that's what we do.